Welcome back. In the previous module, we learned how to create an authentication system for our app. But now we need a way of displaying the data. Let's create a user module so we can have a user's profile and a dashboard where the users can edit their own data. Let's start by creating our module, our components, services, and we're also going to create a user module. ng generate module user. We're going to add it to the core module. Now let's create a user service. S for service. We're going to put it inside the users folder and also add it to the user module. Let's create a user model. Just right click and new file, user.model.ts. And this will hold our data, our user data. It's like the interface we did in the authentication, but this actually instantiates the user, while interface we only give it types. So now let's create our components. ng generate component user dashboard. It's a good practice also to namespace, because as you're gonna see later, we're going to create a blog, and we're also gonna create a blog dashboard. So we would have two dashboards components. So just namespace it and you're gonna avoid clashes. You generate component user detail, user list, and a list item. Okay, now we should have everything we need. Just close this and begin. The model, we haven't seen it yet, but let's go ahead and copy it from the auth service, the same as this. And here we're gonna export a class user. We're gonna just add that info in here. It will just hold the information about our user. Now let's go over to the module and let's start to create our routes. As we did before, we don't need the module. We're going to add the shared module instead. We also need to import routes and the router module. And for the router module, we're going to add the for child and pass routes to it. And let's go ahead and create the routes. The array, and here, you remember, you take a path. Let's create the dashboard. I will call it me. It's going to be like myapp.com/me. That will be the dashboard. Take a component, user dashboard component. Let's pass some data as well. My profile. Now let's do the same for the other components. We're going to have for users, let's use the user list component. Let's put the user's title. And for the detail page, let's call it profile. Now we're going to change this for ID later. And here's the user detail component. Let's profile as title. And let's change the dashboard for my dashboard. Now let's go and check in the browser if everything works. We haven't got a home page yet, so let's create a quick redirect to our users component. In our routes, let's create a path that will redirect to the users. And we need to add a path match full. Using the comma. Now let's have a look. We go to our home page and you get redirect to the user list. User list works. Dashboard and the profile, which is the detail component. And that all works. Now let's create a branch for the users so we can work in it. Git branch. So you can see we've been working on the dev, which is a bad practice. So let's git checkout -b for a new branch, and let's call it user. We'll git branch again. We are in users and git status. Let's go ahead and commit this. Git add all. Git commit -m to pass a message. And here we created the component user module components model and service plus user routes. Okay, let's stop in here now and continue in the next lesson where I'm going to show you how to create master detail component.